Hi, I'm Daniel, and I did top 10 best and worst years through all 12 seasons of SpongeBob. It was a young project that took 1.5 years, and I will use a somewhat similar format for Simpsons, kind of. I am not going to go through every season because I haven't even seen a third of the show past season 10, and I'm not going to do worst years. It's not that there aren't bad episodes, but it would be hard to categorize. Also, these episodes are younger, so I'll go more in depth with each placement. There also won't be recaps anymore, so if you don't know the episode, you can figure it out. This video will combine season 1 with season 2, because there's only 13 episodes in season 1, and that won't even be enough for the 4 honorable mentions I usually do. So, I will discuss the best episode from these two seasons on The Simpsons 32nd anniversary too. This show has been airing for a long time. 10. Brush with Greatness. Marge gets back into painting and deals with being an artist. Normally I'm not the biggest fan of Marge or her episodes, she's easily the worst Simpson. But here her character does more than her usual role. Having Marge be the artistic character isn't what you'll expect, but it works with her trying to find the good in Mr. Burns to paint him correctly. The first half story about Homer's diet isn't as good, but it is still entertaining and isn't competing with garbage like modern Simpsons would do with the first half plots. 9. Bart the General. This is a funny episode, making a battle against a bully into a war. The training montage is great, and it's weird to see Nelson be actually antagonistic. Vampire is a great character, and this properly introduces him. Yet he wrote about the presentation of old people on TV is a great moment for them following through with them stereotypes. It's also funny how the war veteran guy lost his arm by putting his hand out the window in the bars. 8. Dead Putting Society. The moral contrast of Flanders and Homer is really funny. Having Flanders ask Homer to leave his house for being rude and then write an apology for it is great comedy. Does it in a way without making Homer really unlikable. The two make it better about the kids' golf game, which causes Bart to be under a lot of pressure. Lisa helps him train, and in the actual game, both Bart and Todd decide to quit collectively against the game. I like this message and how the wording of does not win becomes important. This also uses golf greatly as a setup to the plot. There's a lot of about Dead Punk Society, which is why it deserves a spot on this list. 7. Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? Homer meets his half-brother, and he's actually successful and an interesting character who should appear more than twice, especially because his second appearance is one season later. The opening stuff is still entertaining despite being just an introduction, and the episode is consistently funny. What makes the episode work is that Herbert brought this downfall upon himself. His co-workers warned him of Homer's idea being impractical, and even Homer had doubts before Herbert told him to be more assertive. He was too glued to the idea of a car for the average man. He doesn't consider not everyone is the same, so a very specific car isn't a good financial idea. Didn't even see the car before he revealed it publicly. Lisa's ending line was great where she said, then he realised he was a Simpson. 6. 2 cars in every garage and 3 eyes on every fish. Mr. Burns running in politics is a great premise, and this episode is mostly here for the story. The 3-eyed fish is tied to the story well, and it has a clever way of making Mr. Burns fail. I don't have much more to elaborate over than this episode's great. Also, the title is very long, but it's nothing compared to Raging Ape Simpson, etc. 5. Simpsons Roast Gonna Open Fire. Here we have the episode that started it all, that aired 32 years ago, on the 17th of December 1989, and it is a great one. It has good comedy, even for an early episode. The story is interesting, and since December, I'll talk about the Christmas stuff. Family has to deal with financial problems with Homer not getting a bonus and Marge spending the money on Bart's tattoo removal, makes Homer become a more Santa. The training lessons is very entertaining, and although I'm not a pet person, Santa's Your Helper introduction was a great ending that captures the Christmas feeling. 4. Bart gets an F. A more closer look at Bart's character that you would see on the surface where he can't focus. It's hard seeing him try his best to study but failing in the school system, and that is what really makes this episode. There is your great moments like Bart training Martin to be cool, Easter reminding Bart of his prayer, and the president during a snow day. This episode helped establish the more emotional core of the show, starting season 2. 3. Itchy and Scratchy and Marge. The topic of censorship is discussed in a way that's actually really good in handling the situation. Often it's seen as censorship completely bad, all things need to be censored, but it's more than that and looks at both sides of the argument. On one side, Itchy and Scratchy is only indirectly responsible for Homer being hit in the head by a mire, If one form of outward expression has problems should be censored, then why shouldn't another? Marge trying to get one thing censored for a good reason makes the mob think everything needs to be censored. However, the executives of the show don't care about any criticism, and there should be a warning before. This segment of The Simpsons is more relevant now, which is why it's so amazing. 2. Krusty gets busted. I was just speaking on Simpsons episodes that are more relevant now than before. Not only is Sideshow Bob great here, and this introduced the Bart and Lisa team up, the episode's message is handled really well. Framing a temperature to the audience is obviously fake. Why would Krusty feel a need to rob a quickie mark and why in his clown outfit? Framing attempt changes the perspective of him as a public figure, and everyone is so quick to believe this. Even Bart has doubts at first, but when investigating they find evidence curing Krusty, which the police didn't even pick up on. Cancel culture is somewhat overhated. The point of this episode is thinking one way immediately is a flawed mindset. A mob mindset comes along with it. This was told in the first season, and the show still had interesting episodes like this. And now, honorable mentions are Blood Feud, Three Men in a Comic Book, The Telltale Head, and Lisa's Substitute. 1. There's no disgrace like home. This episode is very underrated for showing a part of Homer that isn't seen later on. Yeah, it's his family that messed up and embarrassed him at an event, and he wants his family to be more stable. I really like this presentation of him before it was the dumb trope. Show you cared over the next seasons. As well as that, this episode is really funny throughout. Opening set piece of Burns' birthday, the family spying in other houses for one to get their gun. And the ending. The therapy scene is classic for the great comedy. The way they celebrate failure and getting double their money back is a real subversive ending, done right. Only the 4th episode of the show, this shouldn't be one of the best. But There's No Disgrace Like Home is the best episode from the first 2 seasons. In conclusion, I will briefly discuss both seasons. Season 1 is good, although definitely a weaker season. The animation is low quality and story is slower, but the stories episodes from this time that shouldn't be ignored. Now, Season 2 is only okay and the worst season. It still has a lot of great episodes, but too large amount of these episodes are beyond and showcasing more problems than Season 1. This one has more early season issue, and I think Season 1 is underrated and Season 2 is overrated. Something in both seasons is Little Lisa stands out, with the only episode that does moaning Lisa being overrated in my opinion. I don't know how far I'll get into this video series. I will do season 3 because that season includes the best episodes, but I'm not sure about after that. I will if this video does well, but I won't want to do it really prevalent like I did with SpongeBob, because my channel is slowly straying away from that type of content, and I want more variety. So I hope you enjoyed this video, because it's quite young compared to what I was expecting before writing it. The end.